Shruti, India's premier magazine for the performing arts, welcomes you to its first video magazine.
ஓடுகின்ற நீர்மை ஓடுகின்ற நீர்மை ஒழிதலுறும் உற்றாரும் ஓடுகின்ற நீர்மை ஒழிதலுறும் உற்றாரும் கோடுகின்றார் மூப்பும் குறுகிற்று கோடுகின்றார் முப்பும் குறுகிற்று நாடுகின்ற நல்ல சிற்றம்பலமே நாடுகின்ற நல்ல சிற்றம்பலமே நன்னாமுள் நன்னெஞ்சே நன்னாமுள் நன்னெஞ்சே நல்ல சிற்றம்பலமே நன்னாமுள் நன்னெஞ்சே தில்லை சிற்றம்பலமே நன்னாமுள் நன்னெஞ்சே தில்லை சிற்றம்பலமே சிற்றம்பலமே
Chidambaram, the home of the cosmic dancer, Lord Nataraja. Who doesn't know this place? Faithful devotees refer to it as Bhuloka Kailasham, Kailash on earth. Others, still more devoted, refer to it only as Kovil. They do not have to say the Nataraja temple in Chidambaram. That's not necessary. It is simply Kovil to all those who follow the lotus feet of Lord Nataraja. How did it all begin? It was through the grace of sages Patanjali and Vyagrapada, who were performing penance in Tillai Vanam. It was a huge forest of Tillai trees, and the Tillai is actually the mangrove that we see in and around Chidambaram today. According to the Sthala Puranam, or the temple legend, a great king named Hiranyavarman, alias Simhavarman, who was the ruler of Gauda Desha, the Bengal of today, was afflicted with leprosy. And therefore he abdicated his kingdom, left it to his brother, and came all the way to Tillai Vanam. There he saw Vyagrapada and Patanjali praying to the lingam that is known as the Tirumula Sthanam. Even today, when we go to the Nataraja temple in Chidambaram, there is the Tirumula Sthanam, which is the epicenter of Chidambaram, although many of us today don't know of it. To that lingam, to that Tirumula Sthanam, Vyagrapada and Patanjali were praying very fervently to have Lord Nataraja give them a darshan of his Ananda Tandava. Seeing the sad plight of Hiranyavarma Maharaja, they asked him to have a bath in the holy Pushkarini, or the temple tank, called the Shivaganga. Hiranyavarman came out, his disease totally cured, and in gratitude to these two sages and to the Lord who cured him, he built the Chidambaram temple. Now we all know that Chidambaram is one among the Panchabhuta Sthalas. The first of these is the Ekamarnatha temple of Kanchipuram, which you see on screen. And this is where Shiva is embodied in the form of Prithvi. So this is the Prithvi Lingam. And then you have Tiruvanaika, where he is up Swarupam or element of water. This is the famous Jambukeshwaram temple. And then you have Tiruvannamalai, the unsurpassable Tiruvannamalai with its temple to Arunacheleshwara, where he is embodied as Jyotir Swarupa. This is the fire element. And then you have Kalahastishwara in the Sri Kalahasti next to the river Swarnamukhi, which is the Vayu Lingam. And finally, you have Chidambaram with its Akasha Lingam. The 5 great places where Shiva is in the embodiment of the 5 elements of nature. The Akasha Tattvam is beyond our concept. If people go to Chidambaram wanting to have a look at a tangible form of a linga, they are going to be very disappointed. It is a room that they show you with vacant space that you have to visualize as the symbolic form of the linga. And all you will have in that empty space is a string of golden vilva leaves that you see in the background of this backdrop over here. And you have to visualize the formless Shiva who is infinite, who is beyond everything that our little minds can actually conceptualize. There in the temple, you have the unseen form of the Akashalinga, and then you have the all too vibrant, all too visible, all too beautiful Nataraja, where he is seen, and we go on and on and on seeing him. We can't take our eyes off him. This Nataraja temple is also one of the 5 sabhas in South India, where he is embodied as the cosmic dancer. The first, of course, is Chidambaram, that is the Kanaka Sabha or the Ponnambalam. Next we come to Madurai, or the Hall of Silver, the Rajata Sabha or the Velli Ambalam. Then we go to Tiruvalangadu, that is the Ratna Sabha of Ratna Sabhapati, so close to Chennai, but many of us don't go. And then you have the Tamara Sabha, Hall of Copper, the Nelliyapar Temple in Tirunelveli, and finally the Chitra Sabha or the Hall of Painting in Kutralam, that is very, very near Tirunelveli. Unknown to most is the fact that inside Chidambaram temple complex itself there are 5 sabhas. These are the Chit Sabha, Kanaka Sabha, Nritta Sabha, Deva Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha, some of which will be dealt with in the course of this lecture. So then, what do we have with regard to the Nataraja Tattvam? It is a concept about which I am not fit to talk. In fact, none of us are, because it is beyond our imagination, beyond all knowledge. But just for the sake of iconography and for nothing else, I would like to show that this is one of the most beautiful images ever cast in the 12th century AD by a Chola sculptor, unnamed sculptor. He stands on Apasmara Purusha, Muyalagan in Tamil, that is a representation of our ignorance or our ego. He stomps on our ego, provided we surrender to him. His right hand is in Abhayahasta blessing us. His left hand is in Karihasta or Gajahasta, fingers pointing down. When we surrender to him, he blesses us and cleanses us of our ego and our ignorance. On his hair, he wears the Ganga. On top, he wears the peacock feathers. Not many are aware that what protrudes on top are a series of peacock feathers. He wears a skull. He wears the Chandran. He wears the Datura flower. And he wears the Tridala leaf. All that is there. And this is the unending cosmic dance. He is the creator, he is the destroyer. This image actually denotes infinity and much, much more than that. Ananda Natana Prakasham, Ragam Kedaram, Talam Mishra Chapu, one of the Panchabhuta Sthala Kritis of Muthuswami Dikshitar. We will now see Roja Kannan dance to it and Bharati Ramasubban sing.
Natana Prakasham Natana Prakasham Chitsabhesham Nanda Natana Prakasham
ತದ್ದಿಂಗಿಣ್ಣತ್ತುಂ ತದ್ದಿಂಗಿಣ್ಣತ್ತುಂ
ಸಂಗೀತ
ತದ್ದಿಂಗಿಣ್ಣತ್ತುಂ 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 गिण्णतुं तद्धीं गिण्णतुं तद्धीं गिण्णतुं गीतवाद्य झं ता तद्दिं गिण्णतुं ता तर्गिडतुं 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 तज्झं ता तद्दिं गिण्णतुं ता तर्गिडतुं 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 तज्झं तर्गिडतुं तर्गिडतुं तज्झं तर्गिडतुं तर्गिडतुं तज्झं तर्गिडतुं अदज्झं तर्गिडतुं अदर्गिडतुं तर्गिडतुं 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 तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं ता तर्गिडतुं 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 तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं ता तर्गिडतुं 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 तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं तद्दिं गिण्णतुं
You see a visualization of this song, Ananda Natana Prakasham by Sri S. Raja. Now we go on to the story of Nandanar, without which no history of Chidambaram could ever be complete. He was born in a village called Adanur, south of the river Kollidam, and he was a very great devotee of Shiva. Unfortunately, due to social caste restrictions, he was not allowed into any Shiva temple, although he was born in a family that made drums that were used for the worship of Lord Shiva. He then once went to the village of Tirupungur, where there is a temple for Lord Shivalokanatha Swami. This is very near Vaitishwaran Kovil. And while he was standing outside and praying to the Lord, he beseeched Shiva to have a darshan from the outside, of course, so that Nandi could perhaps move a little to the side so that he could view him from the outside. Shiva listened to the plea of his ardent devotee, ordered his Rishabha to move a little, and then Nandanar had a vision of Lord Shiva over there. The Nandi, the Rishabha in that temple, still stands a little to the side and is not in sync with the main Shivalinga of that temple. Many people think that this incident happened in Chidambaram. It didn't. It was in Tirupungur, and evidence of it is still so visible in that temple today. Nandanar's ardent desire was to go to Tillai, Chidambaram, and to see Nataraja. Alas, he could not do so. But then there was divine providence. He kept telling himself that he would never be able to see Nataraja, and therefore he kept postponing his visit to Chidambaram. So much so that he came to be called Nalai Povar Nayanar. And finally that day did come. He made haste and went to Chidambaram, and Lord Nataraja, wanting his devotee to come to him, as much as the devotee wanted to come to him, came in his vision and told him to enter fire so that he would cleanse himself and he could come into the temple. At the same time, Lord Nataraja ordered the Thillai Moovayiravar, the 3,000 priests of Thillai, to light a fire into which Nandanar could step in. He did step in, he did step out, he stepped into the temple, and he stepped into the heart of Shiva. That is Nandanar Charitram, immortalized by Gopalakrishna Bharati in his Nandanar Charitram. Ididano Thillai Beghag, Aditalam. Roja will dance to it, Bharati will sing it.
இது தானோ தில்லை ஸ்தலம் இத்தனை நாளும் அறியேனே. இது தானோ தில்லை ஸ்தலம் இத்தனை நாளும் அறியேனே. இது தானோ தில்லை ஸ்தலம் இத்தனை நாளும் அறியேனே. இது தானோ தில்லை ஸ்தலம் இத்தனை
Chidambaram is one of the 275 Padalpetra Sthalams. In fact, it is the foremost of the Padalpetra Sthalams, which are the Shiva temples which have been sung about by the Nayanmars, by the Shiva Bhaktas. We know that Nandanar was there, Ayyadigal Kadavarkon was there, Kochenganan was there, Tirunilakanta Nayanar was there, Appar, Sundarar, Sammandar were there. They have all sung about the glory of Lord Nataraja, of Shiva enshrined over here. Manikavachakar, not one of the Nayanmars, he has not been included in the list. He was also there singing the glory of Lord Shiva. And in fact, like Nandanar, he was the one who merged with Lord Shiva over there. This is on the screen, Jnana Sambandar. This is how he is portrayed in art. This is not Krishna. This is Jnana Sambandar. The finger pointing up would show that. Such a great devotee of Lord Nataraja. This is how Manikavachakar is portrayed in art. His right hand would be in Chinmudra and his left hand would hold manuscripts. So this is a sthalam that has been worshipped by countless devotees over the ages. Let us listen to a short piece of Niranyana Sambandar's Devaram by Bharati Ramasubba.
விரிகொன்றையாய் மதித்தாங்கு நீள் ஷடையாய் தலைவா நல்லதாரினால் விரிகொன்றையாய் மதித்தாங்கு நீள் ஷடையாய் தலைவா நல்லதாரினால் விரிகொன்றையாய் மதித்தாங்கு நீள் ஷடையாய் தலைவா நல்லதாரினால் விரிகொன்றையாய் மதித்தாங்கு நீள் ஷடையாய் தலைவா நல்ல தேரினார் மருகில் திரு வாரணி தில்லை தன்னுள் தேரினார் மருகில் திரு வாரணி தில்லை தன்னுள் சீரினார் யாரதோர் செம்மையால் தலைவா சீரினார் வழிபாடு ஒழியாததோர் செம்மையால் அழகாய சித்திரமோபாலம் சீரினார் வழிபாடு ஒழியாததோர் செம்மையால் அழகாய சித்திரமோபாலம் ஏறினார் அமர்ந்தாரும் சீரடி சீரினார் வழிபாடு ஒழியாததோர் செம்மையால் அழகாய சித்திரமோபாலம் ஏறினார் மதுரில் உன் சீரடி
If the Nayanmars were here in Chidambaram, so were the Alvars, because this is one of the very, very few temple complexes which is a Padalpetra Sthalam and at the same time one of the 108 Divya Deshams, so sacred to the Vaishnavites. And that is because Tillai Govindaraja Swami is enshrined here in all his glory and all his majestic beauty. Of the 12 Alvars, Thirumangai Alvar was here. He sung about the sacred feet of the Lord. Kulashekara Alvar, who was the monarch of the Chera country in Kerala, abdicated his kingdom and became an ardent devotee of Lord Govindaraja Swami here. Thirumangai Alvar's verses are very well known, so are Kulashekara Alvar's, and the latter very specifically talks about Govindaraja Swami also as Sri Rama, and this entire place is called Tiruchitrakutam of the Valmiki Ramayana fame. Therefore, when we stand at one sacred spot, we see in front of us the divine cosmic dance of Lord Nataraja. Turn our heads to the left and we see the sacred form of Govindaraja Swami. It is at that very moment that you really feel that you are in Kailash and in Vaikuntham at one and the same time. Let us listen to one of the Pashurams of Tirumangiyalvar sung by Bharati.
வாட உண்ணாதுயிர் காவலிட்டு உடலில் பிரிய புலனைந்தும் நுந்து ஊன்வாட உண்ணாதுயிர் காவல் ஈட்டு உடலில் பிரிய புலனைந்தும் நொந்து காவாட வாட தவம் செய்ய
Chidambaram, the tradition of worshipping Lord Nataraja and the tradition of worshipping Govindaraja Swami going on side by side. This has been happening through the centuries, is happening today, and will continue for very, very more hundreds of years, that is for sure. The two traditions are extremely different. The flowers used for worship, the rituals, the festivals, everything are similar perhaps, but definitely there are so many differences. And this has been immortalized in Gopalakrishna Bharati's Tillai Ambalatanai Govindarajanai, where every line brings out these two differences, one and yet the same. This will be sung Shuruti Ragam, Mishrataapatalam by Bharati, and the dance by Rojakant. while we all know that it's a Padalpetrasalam, we know this place is a Divya Desham, we may know about the Sthala Puranam, we know that so many great people came here, Gopalakrishna Bharati sang so eloquently, so did Muthuswami Dikshitar. Unfortunately, what most of us are unaware of is the history of the temple per se, the recorded history. And this is mainly because history is a subject that nobody likes. But over the next few minutes, let us go and see, through the help of some slides, how this temple actually grew into the massive complex that it is today. It is one of the biggest temples, area-wise, in the whole of India. That was not the temple in which Patanjali and Vyagrapada sat in penance. That must have been a very, very small shrine. Now it is literally acres large, with huge towers, with huge prakaras, with huge mantapas. How did it exactly get to be that way? Simply because this is some old photograph of this temple. The Cholas, we all know of the great Chola dynasty that ruled over South India for many centuries. The Kuladaivam of the Cholas was Thillai Nataraja, and that is how this temple became what it is today. Every Chola king, starting from 850 down to 1279 when the Chola Empire collapsed, was a great devotee at the lotus feet of Lord Nataraja. We have thousands and thousands of inscriptions of the Cholas left behind for us. So many of them state clearly again and repeatedly again and again that they were devotees of Lord Nataraja of Tiruchitrambalam or Thillai. That is very, very clear. And each of them has contributed his might, some more than the others. Now what we are looking at are some of the sculptures of the Gopurams. The Gopurams of Chidambaram were built much, much later than the other structures over here. So which was the very, very first structure that was contributed to by the Cholas? It was the golden roof of the Kanakasabha. That was done by Parantaka Chola the first. And having done that, he left it to his son Gandaraditya, who was a very great and pious Chola king. He did not care for administration, he cared only for the worship of Lord Nataraja, and Gandaraditya composed the Tiruvishaipa, in which many, many hymns are about Lord Nataraja of Thillai. And then along comes the great Rajaraja Chola. What was his contribution to Chidambaram? So many inscriptions talk about many things that were given during his reign. But more than all of that, there was one contribution that many are not aware of. The Devaram hymns left behind by Appar Sundarar and Sambandar had quite disappeared by the time of Rajaraja Chola. And he, being an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, especially Lord Nataraja, wanted to recover these hymns. Physically, it was impossible. He did not know where to search. Therefore, he went to a mystic, a young boy saint in a place called Tirunarayur near Chidambaram, whose name was Nambi Andar Nambi. He, because of his mystical powers, saw that these little manuscripts containing the Devaram verses were inside a locked room in the western prakara of the Chidambaram temple. So in haste, Rajaraja went there with Nambi Andar Nambi, only to his disappointment to see that the room was totally locked. And the Dikshitars of the temple told Rajaraja, they told the monarch of entire South India and Lanka that he could not open the locked door. That was because it was a tradition of the Chidambaram temple that only the composers of the hymns, Appar, Sundarar and Sambandar, could open that locked door. What was Rajaraja to do? Not for nothing was he the emperor of South India. He made bronze images of these three Nayanmars, brought and placed them in front of the locked room. The lock fell open, they went inside, only to their dismay to find that most of the manuscripts, the Ola Chaudis, had been eaten by termites. But what little they could find, they recovered. They got them set to music, they got them set to dance, and entire Tamil Nadu reverberated with the Devaram hymns of the Nayanmars. That was Rajaraja's contribution, great contribution to Chidambaram and to us even today. His son Rajendra Chola ruled from Tanjavur originally. That was the capital of the Cholas. But very soon he shifted his capital to another place called Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Historians will tell you that it was a strategic move, that he was a warrior, and therefore he wanted his capital north of the old capital. But perhaps, as many devotees say, his heart was with Lord Nataraja of Chidambaram, so he wanted his capital to be near Chidambaram. That was why he transferred it. His son, Rajendra's son, was called Veera Rajendra. The Chola inscriptions say that he gave a ruby. The ruby's name was Trailokya Saram. It was invaluable even in the Chola times. That was cleanly gifted by Veera Rajendra to Lord Nataraja. And then we come to the time of their successors, Kulotunga Chola. That is a name that everybody has heard. Kulotunga Chola had totally lost his heart to Lord Nataraja. And therefore, the contribution was phenomenal. If we see Chidambaram as such a big temple complex today, it is almost entirely due to Kulotunga Chola I and his son Vikrama Chola and their army general Naraloka Veera, to whom I will come very, very soon. These are the sculptures of the Gopura that you see over here on the screen. This is the East Gopuram that I am showing you. These are the famous Karana sculptures of the East Gopuram. They are among the oldest as far as this temple is concerned. They go up as far as the eye can see. The 108 Karanas depicted in Bharata's Natya Shastra are over here. We don't know the names of the sculptors who created these masterpieces. They are exactly according to the treatise. That is, look at these. Unfortunately, we have damaged them. We have vandalized them over the centuries. All this is in very, very hard granite. And if you notice that there is one small inscription on top of this sculpture, those are the verses of the Natya Shastra corresponding with that particular movement of that Karana that is inscribed here. The language is Sanskrit, and this inscription is etched in the Grantha script. In Tamil Nadu, Grantha was used for writing the Sanskrit language. These are all the different ones that we have on the Eastern Gopuram. Most likely, these are of the 12th century, of the time of Kulotunga Chola I. We come to the West Gopuram. This is maybe slightly older than the East Gopuram. Both are used as entrances today. Massive. Look at the stucco sculptures made of Shuddai that are up there. Whenever we go to a temple, we notice the stone, we notice the metal, but we leave out these sculptures on the Gopurams. It is completely and totally our misfortune. This is one of the most beautiful carvings ever seen. This is Lord Shanmuga on his peacock fighting the Asuras. This is on the wall of the West Gopuram. And again, this Gopura Vashal also contains the 108 Karanas, and typically with the verses written there. All this is on the West Gopuram, as we can see. The only unfortunate thing that I wish to point out is the modernization that takes place in the name of renovation. That white line that you see is a concrete structure that should not be there in between all these very, very great 12th century ones. Now this is the Tiruchuttrumaligai, or the compound of this temple. Just look at it, it is two-storied. It was built in the time of Kulotunga Chola I, probably by his army general Naraloka Veera, two-storied. Can we imagine? Let us take ourselves back to the 12th century for just a second. You are there watching the Arudra Darshanam, so many festivals. You couldn't fit yourselves into the lower story, so you climb up there and you can witness procession after procession, ritual after ritual. It must have been an amazing sight. These are all Chola sculptures, Chola pillars. Then we go to the North Gopuram. Again, the base portion of it belongs to the time of the Cholas, but the top portion belongs to the great Krishnadevaraya. These are the different poses of Lord Shiva that you find here. This is Krishnadevaraya in the North Gopuram of this temple. Over here, His Majesty. These are all the Karana sculptures over here in this Gopuram also. But here, the inscriptions of the corresponding verses from the Natya Shastra are not to be seen. Look at the way it goes up. What dexterity of hand these sculptors must have had more than 800 years ago. How they must have been conversant with the Shilpa Shastra and the Natya Shastra to produce such masterpieces. These are all on the North Gopuram, what I am showing you. If you walk through the Gopuram and you happen to look up, these are the miniature sculptures that you will see very many feet above you. All this is there. And these are inscriptions in the Telugu language talking about contributions to this temple. We come to the South Gopura. Let us notice the flags fluttering right above, which we missed in the other three Gopuras. That is because this is the main entrance of the temple. Lord Nataraja faces south, doesn't he? So this is the main entrance. And we have these lovely sculptures of Shiva over here. Please notice the details. This Vadyam group, please notice the instruments. They are so minute, so breakable, but yet they have been done with such dexterity. And here again, you have the dance movements depicted, but without the inscriptions. All this is on the south doorway. Now, we come to the Ayirangal Mantapam. This is a beauty. This is a Chola structure and added to by the Vijayanagaras later. The entranceway looks like this. That's how massive it is. We find the same thing in Chidambaram, same time period. And here in Chidambaram, at the base, you have a whole row of dancers and musicians. Completely and totally, the costumes, the jewelry, the hairdress, everything is of the Chola times. That is exactly how it is. It goes all around this structure. And there are like dozens and dozens of miniature sculptures. This is the Shivagami Amman Sannadhi inside this huge temple complex. And this Sannadhi by itself looks like a miniature temple. These are the sculptures that you see over here. This is Vyagrapada, whose sculpture is here. His feet are like the claws of a tiger. On the mantapa, on the ceiling of the mantapa of the Shivagami Amman shrine, you have beautiful paintings, murals of the 17th century AD. Some of them depict the entire life history of Manikavachikar. But look at the pitiable state they are in. We have treasures 300 years old, 350 years old, and yet these are so badly kept. They are flaking away every day, and we have absolutely no idea when they may completely come down. This is the Shivagami Amman Sannadhi. Again, a two-storied wall is there. Please notice on the base, this is what you have. A whole series of dancers and musicians of the Chola period. Every movement possible, everything possible is there. This, my friends, I am sorry to say, is the great Nritta Sabha of Chidambaram, inside which you have Shiva dancing his Urdhva Tandava. It is an amazing, amazing depiction of Shiva that you have inside. Kulotunga Chola and his sculptors and his architects conceived of this Nritta Sabha as a ratha, with chariots and with horses pulling them. From the little piece of sculpture that you see that is emerging from a mass of modern concrete, you see a beautifully chiseled wheel of the 12th century AD by master sculptors. What have we done? In the name of renovation, we have plastered it. And if we remove that concrete, that entire wheel will come off with it. I'm trying to show you what a masterpiece this is, what kind of legacy we have, and how carelessly we treat it. Chidambaram is a classic example. The horse is in concrete, completely and totally buried up to his neck. This is a Chola masterpiece that you have over here. The entire thing is conceived of as a chariot. This is the pitiable state. It should have looked like this. This is Dharasuram. This is a little later. But this is exactly how the Nritta Sabha would have looked. This is how the wheel of the Nritta Sabha would have looked. And unfortunately, this is what we have done to it. All this is part of the Chidambaram temple. Now, I would like to tell you about this army general whom I just mentioned in passing. His name was Naraloka Veera, a great warrior. He helped Kulotunga Chola and his son Vikrama to win many a war. On the walls of the Chidambaram temple, you have a very, very long inscription. It is bilingual, meaning part of it is in Sanskrit, part of it is in Tamil. And this very, very lengthy epigraph talks about the contribution made by this very great devotee of Lord Nataraja. What is it that he did not do for this temple? It is unbelievable. Many of the mantapas over here were constructed by him. Many of the prakaras were constructed by him. He even contributed to the gopuram. The steps that we see on the four sides of the temple tank called Shivaganga were constructed by Naraloka Veera. He planted 50,000 palm trees inside the temple. He constructed another tank outside the temple. He completely covered the Chidambaram shrine with gold. He also made a golden hall for the recitation of the Devaram of Tirunjana Sambandar. He made a golden image of Tirunjana Sambandar. He gave a silken garment completely made of gold and studded with gems to Shivagami Amman. The Shivagami Amman Sannadhi was in all likelihood built by him. I could go on and on the whole evening, but the contribution of Naraloka Veera to this temple is immense, and it is very sad that 99% of the devotees who walk into Chidambaram today are not even aware of the name of Naraloka Veera. Bharati Ramasubban has very kindly tuned some verses of this inscription to music, and she will render it for you now.
Ayamiha vrishaketoh pujakanam dvijanam. Ayamiha vrishaketoh pujakanam dvijanam. Akrita Shuchi Muninam, Akrita Shuchi Muninam, Bhukti Hetor Vibhutim, Akrita Shuchi Muninam, Bhukti Hetor Vibhutim. Shuchi Muninam Bhukti Hetor Vibhutim. Akrita Shuchi Muninam Bhukti Hetor Vibhutim. Itaradapi Kumarasto Kumarastotra Parayanaya Stotra Parayanaya Kumara Stotra Parayanaya Tribhuvana Tribhuvana Nutamuchaihi Tribhuvana Nutamuchaihi Kanchana Mantapancha Tribhuvana Nutamuchaihi Kanchana Mantapancha Itaradapi Kumarastotra Parayanaya Tribhuvananutamuchaihi Kanchanam Mantapancha Kanchanam
You heard the words Kanchana Mantapam, Kumarastotram, which means that he made a golden hall for the recitation of Tirunjana Sambandar's Devaram. That is one of the little contributions of Naraloka Veera to the Chidambaram temple. If you look at the screen now, you will see the symbol of two fish. That was the Pandyan crest. And what were the Pandyas doing in Chidambaram? After 1279 AD, the Cholas were completely and totally eradicated by the Pandyas of Madurai, who moved into Cholamandalam and again gave their hearts to Lord Nataraja of Chidambaram. There was one particular king called Jatavarma Sundarapandyan of the 13th century who again and again and repeatedly again did what is called the Tulabharam or the Tula Purusham over there. He would sit on the scales and on the other he would heap it with gold and silver and all kinds of precious gems. And immediately that weight of everything precious would be donated to Lord Nataraja. This is there, still on the walls of the Chidambaram temple. The picture that I am showing you is actually found on the southern Gopuram. If we go in or we go out of that vasal, if we just happen to raise our eyes to the top for 1 minute, this crest will be there. And that talks about the Pandyan contribution to the Chidambaram temple. This, of course, is Krishnadevaraya. And as I told you, he contributed to the North Gopuram of this temple. Not small were his contributions to Lord Nataraja. Villages were given, gold was given. So much was done in the reign of this king. What we have here, this is again something that most people miss while going to temples, and especially in Chidambaram, you have walls that are completely covered with inscriptions. These are the epigraphs, these are the stone records that have survived over the centuries, telling us about the contributions, the growth, the evolution, the festivals, the rituals, the puja, the tradition, everything of the temple. But this is what we do to it. I don't blame only the people of the temple. I would blame all of us in the auditorium. We are allowing this to happen day by day. Every day it is happening. That is all right, but this is a permanent injustice to the inscriptions. Shiva Shiva is all we can say. These are the inscriptions. And then what do you do with this? This is oil. This will not go away. And this is on a Chola inscription, as you can see. Many invasion has come to South India, and one of those, led by Malik Kafur in 13th century, 1311 actually, came to the Chidambaram temple. Much of it was destroyed, and the inscriptions that I am actually showing you are found on the ground. So we actually walk on these very old records as we enter the temple. The Shiva Ganga tank, in which Hiranyavarma Maharaja had his bath and was cured of leprosy. This is the Shiva Ganga tank, the steps of which were built by Naraloka Veera much later of the Chola dynasty. This is the North Gopuram. This is completely and totally beautiful. This is a line drawing that was made in the early part of the 19th century, and the temple remains much the same. This is the corridor, same corridor that is showed here in this line drawing. We still have it. Something that we miss are seeing the lovely, lovely stone, wooden sculptures of the Rathas. During the Utsavams, much of these are covered, and on the non-Utsavam days also they are covered. We miss a chance to see this. These are amazing pieces of art. Maybe we cannot date it so precisely as the stone or the bronze sculptures, but yet they are there, works of art that have been left for us to see. What is this? Why is it so out of sync with Chidambaram, this picture? Because this is Pichavaram near Chidambaram, and I'm showing it to you for a particular reason. What you see here are the mangrove forests. This is Tillai, and Chidambaram was completely and totally covered with it. Our ancients were very wise. Our ancients were very great. They knew the importance of ecology. They knew the importance of trees. Therefore, they gave this Tillai Maram, the mangrove, the status of being the sacred tree of the Chidambaram temple. Even today, when you go to the heart of the Chidambaram temple, you will see a sculpture. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me. That is the Tillai Maram. That is the mangrove, simply because these places are so close to the sea. And the mangrove forests, which take hundreds and hundreds of years to develop, form a fence against tsunamis, against tidal waves, against any kind of natural disaster. But we in the modern age have removed all of these. The ancients knew it, and they gave it the pride of place in Chidambaram. This is an outstanding image of Lord Nataraja made in the 12th century of the Chola period. Every Shiva temple that they built in India and in Sri Lanka and perhaps in any other place that the Cholas went to had an image of Nataraja. Each is different, but each is the same. This is probably a very, very amazing piece. You see Goddess Ganga there. You see all the necessary attributes iconographically of Lord Shiva over here. This is the Lord Nataraja that we come to see. This is the infinite Tillai Sthanam that we have come to see. And then we will end this program with Natana Madinar, Vasanta Ragam, Tatalam, sung by Sharanya and danced by Roja Kannan. And this program will conclude with Manika Vachika's hymn, which will be sung as a Mangala.
Natanam
தவறாமல் பிள்ளை பதியில் வந்து தேமாசத்தில்
ஜடையாட ரகுவடமாட அதன் படமாட தும்தோம் என்று பதவி தந்தோம் என்று அஷ்ட திசையும் கிடு கிடுங்க தேடம் கலை நடுங்க அண்டம் அதிரதங்கை துளி சிதற முன்னாடரும் கொண்டாட இஷ்டமுடனே கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் பாட ஜடையாட அரவும்படமாட அதன் படமாட தும்தோம் என்று பதவி தந்தோம் என்று தாம் தகிட தகஜம் ககணம் தரிகும் தரிதீர் வினுத தனனம் தனனம் தரினம் தரி ததினு தேனு ததே தாந்தி தாந்தி தாஹதத ஜணு ஜணு ததே தேகு ததேய தேகி ததினு தகிட தக தகத ஜணு ததி தகிட கிட தா திகிட கிட தே தத்தோம் என்று நட்டனம் ஆடினார் வெகுநாகரி கமாதவி கனக சபை நட்டனம்
போற்றி அருளுகனின் ஆதிய பாதமலர் போற்றி அருளுகனின் அந்தமாம் செந்தடிகள் போற்றி எல்லா உயிர்க்கும் தோற்றமாம் போதாதோ போற்றி எல்லா உயிர்க்கும் போகவாம் பூங்கழல்கள் போற்றி எல்லா உயிர்க்கும் ஈராவிடையடிகள் போற்றி மாலாமுகமே காணாத புள்ளரீகம் போற்றியாம் உய்ய ஆடுள்ளருளும் பொன்மலர்கள் போற்றியாம் உய்ய ஆடுள்ளருளும் பொன்மலர்கள் போற்றியாம் மார்கழி நீராடேரோரும்
Subscribe to Shruti's YouTube channel to stay connected to the world of performing arts.